get started asking about how you became involved in the movie and what you really liked about your character and the script and what that process was like of becoming attached to the
Okay, so I became attached to the film through Laya, who I did a movie that she had written maybe 2 years ago, and she reached out to me on Instagram and was like, "Hey, I have this movie," and I was like, "Great."
film.
Not much going on. It's the middle of the pandemic. So I read the script and then I wanted to do it, which was great. Yeah.
And once you signed on, what was that experience like of really preparing for the role, and what that experience was like of really maybe relating to Jen and really understanding what she was going through during the pandemic as well?
Yeah, so we did a lot of prep, a lot more than I've done on a lot of movies actually, because the scenes were kind of like, it was more like a play than kind of like 5-page scenes at a time. So as a cast, we rehearsed a lot because they'd be like 20-page scenes. So once we realized like we're going to be doing 20 pages at a time or like 30 pages at a time without cutting, then we really had to just all memorize it as a group. So we had a lot of rehearsal for it, which was really fun, and I really liked everyone. I've actually never met any of them in real life, but it was yeah, it was really cool memorizing it and rehearsing it. I've never done any kind of theater or play, so it kind of felt like we were doing a play, which was really, yeah, it was awesome.
And speaking of that rehearsal time and really filming everything on screen and on camera, what was that experience like as well of really learning that dynamic of figuring out how to shoot a film like this all over like the computer and really maybe creating the physicality in that sense as well, and really learning how to shoot a movie like this on screen through Zoom as well?
Yeah, at first I didn't really know how it was gonna go, especially with the 20 pages. And I'm like, oh, if you mess up, there's no director in the room, there's no scripty that's going to feed you the line, you can't really have your pages anywhere. And I'm like, where's the rest of the cast going to be? But it was actually very natural to film. We had a monitor and the camera kind of in the same place, so you could really connect with the other actors, which I wasn't sure we were going to be able to do. But it felt very natural. It felt like a real Zoom call, and it flowed a lot better than I thought it was going to go. Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask about getting to work with the director of the film and what that experience was like of working with Will, and basically that he also wrote the script and really collaborating with him and developing your character as well.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, again, I haven't met him in real life. It's just kind of weird. It's all been like on the phone or Zoom or FaceTime. But yeah, he was very hands-on. He really helped with the rehearsals, and we had a test read kind of with all of us at first, which was really helpful. I always find those really helpful. And he was very like, I find he had such a hard job to cut a movie together that was all just Zoom. Like I was so nervous, especially all this just, there's no movement really for a long time. It's just a stagnant camera. And I was like, how is he going to make this like come alive? And I find he really did. So I thought he did a great job with like, I mean, we're not moving for like half the movie, but I found it still had like a pace, and it still flowed, and it was still exciting. So yeah, I think on the editing side, he just crushed it.
Also, speaking of that, like the movement in the film and really learning how to create the physicality for the role as well, what was that experience like of really learning how to interact with the camera and really learning that physicality overall as well?
Well, yeah, at first it felt very natural. It felt like you were in just a real Zoom call, and we're kind of like in front of the camera. And then I luckily got to act with Daniel. So that was great, because I got to like talk to someone, and then so we could kind of like relax into it. And then we got to do the part where we stand up and like all this stuff happens. So that was fun. But yeah, there's a lot of not moving. So yeah, you just kind of want to bring in levels, I guess, just with the acting, whereas you can't do it physically.
And also, I wanted to ask about doing just like working in that one location overall as well, and how you really like that experience of like being in their home and really creating that process, like you mentioned, working with Daniel, like only you and him being in the room, and was that like something that you really enjoyed learning that experience as well throughout filming?
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea what to expect because, and then it was in like the middle, like I don't know if we're in the middle now, but it was in like what felt like the middle of the pandemic. So you kind of just pull up to this house and walk in, and there's no one there, and you're like, okay, and then there's just a camera, and you're like, oh, this is a horror movie in itself. And then you just kind of like wire yourself and just kind of figure it out. And like Will's the director's on the call, so he can kind of like direct you and move you around. But yeah, it was definitely a new experience, but it was really cool. I mean, after a while you get used to it, and I was just ordering Uber Eats to the location. Like, yeah, it was cool. It was fun, like miking myself too. I felt like just, I don't know, really connected to what was going on around me, like the camera and the mic, and like that was also a responsibility, because if your sound is not right, then you're screwed.
And also, while I was watching the film, I like the fact that Jen's one of like the newer members of the friend group, and but there's still like struggles that she's going through and her relationship. And what was that experience like as well, to showcase like that dynamic between the two of them as they're living together and really trying to figure out their relationship, and just going through that experience together and working on that dynamic of their romantic relationship as well.
Okay, yeah. So when the movie starts, she's excited and she has good news, and then things kind of escalate. And I mean, it was really fun coming up with like the argument with Dan, and yeah, like yeah, I mean, it was like a collaborative effort with Dan to just like figure out how we're gonna argue, how we're gonna perform the stunt, and how just like navigating how angry she gets at him, or how disappointed she is that he's not like, he's kind of picking apart little things in the moment, but like she's happy about like big picture things, you know. So I think she wants him to come to her level and be like, look, none of this matters, big picture, we have like a family going here. So then I think she's just disappointed in all those little nitpicky things where like she just had something huge she wanted to tell him the whole time, and then, you know, all that stuff happens.
Also, I like the fact that the movie overall really focuses on the social commentary about what's going on in society now with the pandemic and
Yeah.
the police. And did you like that aspect of exploring how as the night escalates, their interactions amongst the friends really leads to like escalating, like involvement with the police, and exploring that dynamic of how their actions are
Yeah.
really affected overall by the pandemic.
Yeah, that was very real for all of us, I think, because we were filming at a time where the marches were going on, and there was a lot of like there was a lot of tension going on with the police in real life in LA. So filming that at that time was like very real for all of us, and watching, well, where, you know, what happened at the end was like very easy to react naturally to. And then like crying was no problem, especially after everything had built up, you know, over the course of the pandemic. You're just have so much built up, and then everything like you're feeling is just actually very real. And you're like, I am frustrated about this, I'm angry, and all those things just like come so easily to the surface because it's real.
And I also like the fact that as the night continues, like the friends will have differing views and opinions on how they should react to what happens to your character and
Yeah.
specifically. And was that something that you and your co-stars really enjoyed exploring, about how people react differently during these types of crisis, and exploring that aspect of the story as well?
Yeah, I really loved Adwin, who plays Ben's, because I actually wasn't there for a few days because I was dead. But yeah, watching Adwin's character's reaction, I thought was hilarious, like valid and hilarious, because he plays a lawyer, so he's very like, no, this is being filmed, we gotta go. And then how are you supposed to turn off a camera when something like that has happened? You're like, we're involved,
Yeah.
but you can't leave your friends. But yeah, I really liked that really, when I watched the movie, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like it was cool. Yeah, everyone had their different approaches.
And overall, with the movie now coming out, like in theaters and on digital, what's that experience been like of really promoting the movie now, like over Zoom and coming back and really doing the same thing, like promoting as filming over Zoom and digitally, and what that experience has been like of gearing up for the movie coming out.
Well, you're my first interview, so I think it's cool. It's fun. I have more today, but yeah, I mean, it feels, I think because we've been doing it for so long, like just interactions like this, it feels kind of more normal now. This is just what we have to do now to be able to get the word out and promote the stuff we're making. But yeah, I'm really excited for it to be in theaters. I was very happy watching the movie. I thought it was hilarious. The beginning I thought was very funny. Then not so funny. But yeah, I really loved I would love to see it in the theater at some point. But yeah, I mean, this is just what we have to do now. So I'm just going with the flow.
Are you interested in maybe doing similar types of films like this, like over Zoom or just digitally, like filming in the future as the pandemic continues? And is this something that you really enjoyed doing overall, like the way like you interacted with the rest of the cast and well as the director, and just what was that overall experience like of getting to do this movie digitally? And are you interested in maybe doing something like this again?
Yeah, I would definitely do it again. Yeah, it was a really great experience. I had fun, and I like the responsibility again of being the only one in a room, just controlling everything. Well, what felt like controlling everything, but yeah, it was really great.
Also, like you mentioned earlier about having some, especially in the beginning, like having some moments of humor to kind of lighten the mood as the story began. And is that something that you also enjoyed, having like the more comedic moments, especially to start the story off and incorporating that into the horror elements as well?
Yeah, I was really surprised with the edit. I thought it was really funny. Like I loved the dancing, and that like in real life it wasn't that long, but he cut it in a way that made it like it was I thought it was done really well. But yeah, I liked the comedy into the darkness because it kind of had somewhere to go.
I think that was mainly it, but thank you again for taking the time out today.
Okay, thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again. Bye.
Okay, bye.